My name is Renzo. I'm 58 years old. I've worked my whole life, built my own business from nothing. Started as a delivery driver. Ended up owning 3 warehouses. I never finished college. But I learned how money works. And I learned how people work too. When my daughter Maria met Daniel, I was happy for her. He was charming, polite, always dressed well. He called me sir and shook my hand firmly. He had a job in marketing, made decent money, wore expensive watches, drove a nice car. Maria was glowing. She smiled more than I'd seen in years. They got married 2 years later. Small ceremony, beautiful day. I paid for most of it. Daniel thanked me with tears in his eyes. He said I was the father he never had. I believed him. After the wedding, they moved into a 2-bedroom apartment downtown. Nice place, hardwood floors, big windows. The rent was high, but they managed. I visited them every Sunday. Maria would cook. Daniel would pour wine. We'd talk about business, family, life. It felt perfect. Then Maria got pregnant. They needed more space. Daniel asked if I wanted to move in with them. They were looking at a bigger place, 3 bedrooms, one for me. You're getting older, Renzo, he said. We want you close. Families should stick together. I was touched. I sold my house, put the money in savings, moved into their new apartment. The first few months were good. I helped with groceries, watched to be with them, held my grandson when he was born. But then many small things started to change. Daniel started making comments, little jokes. Renzo, you're in the living room again? He'd say. Don't you have somewhere to be? He'd laugh, but his eyes didn't. Maria would tell him to stop. He'd shrug and walk away. Then he started complaining about noise. I'd wake up at 6 to make coffee. He'd come out angry. Some of us are trying to sleep, he'd snap. I started staying in my room more. I felt like a guest. No, worse, like a burden. One night I heard them arguing in their bedroom. The walls were thin. Daniel's voice was loud. Mom, I can't deal with him anymore, Maria. He's always here, always watching. I need my space. Maria's voice was softer, defensive. He's my father. He sold his house to help us. Daniel laughed bitterly. Help us? He's freeloading. This is our home. I couldn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling. My chest felt tight. Had I made a mistake? I gave up my independence, my peace. For this, the next week, things got worse. Daniel stopped talking to me. He'd walk past me without a word. If I was in the kitchen, he'd sigh loudly and leave. Maria looked exhausted, torn between us. I hated seeing her like that. Then came the confrontation. I was sitting in the living room reading. Daniel came home from work. He stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Renzo, we need to talk. His tone was cold. I put down my book. What's wrong? I asked. He sat across from me, leaned forward. This isn't working. You living here? It's too much. Maria won't say it, but I will. You need to find your own place. I felt like I'd been punched. Find my own place? I repeated. He nodded. Yeah. Look, you're a grown man. You had your own house. You can get another one. This apartment isn't big enough for 3 adults and a baby. I looked at Maria. She was standing in the hallway, silent, tears in her eyes, but she didn't defend me. Daniel kept going. I'll give you 60 days. That's fair, right? 2 months to figure it out. He said it like he was doing me a favor, like he was being generous. I felt anger rising in my chest, but I stayed calm. This is Maria's decision too, I said quietly. He smirked. Maria agrees. Don't you, babe? She looked down, nodded slightly. My heart broke. I went to my room, closed the door, sat on the edge of the bed. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from rage. I'd given them everything, paid for their wedding, helped with rent, sold my house, and now I was being thrown out like trash. But they made one mistake. They thought I was broken. I didn't argue, I didn't beg, I just nodded and started packing. Daniel seemed pleased. He probably thought I'd leave quietly, disappear, make his life easier. He had no idea who he was dealing with. See, when I sold my house, I made over $400,000. I'd been saving for years before that too. I had investments, bonds, stocks. I wasn't rich, but I had options, and I had something more valuable. I had connections. The apartment building they lived in was owned by a small real estate company. I knew this because I'd seen the property manager before. A woman named Grace. She was always friendly, professional. I called her. Asked about the building. She told me the owners were looking to sell. Business wasn't great. Maintenance costs were high. They wanted out. I met with them the next week. Two brothers, mid-40s, tarred. They showed me the books. The building had 12 units. Most were rented. It was cash flow positive. Barely. But it had potential. I made an offer. They accepted within 3 days. I didn't tell Maria. I didn't tell Daniel. I just bought the building, signed the papers, became their landlord. Then I waited. Let them think I was moving out. Let Daniel feel victorious. I even started looking at apartments in front of Maria. She looked sad, guilty. But she said nothing. Daniel looked relieved. 2 weeks before my deadline, I visited my business partner, Tavian. He's been with me for 15 years. Smart. Ruthless when needed. I told him what happened. He laughed. You bought their building? Renzo, you're cold. I smiled. Not yet, but I will be. Tavian helped me draft new lease agreements. Lights legal, airtight. The old leases were month to month, easy to change. I sent notices to all tenants. Rent was increasing. Not by much for most units, but for apartment 4B, Daniel and Maria's unit, the increase was significant. From $1,800 a month to $3,200. Daniel received the notice on a Tuesday. I heard him yelling through the door. This is insane! They can't do this! Maria was crying. I stayed in my room, quiet, listening. He called the property manager. Grace, she was professional, explained that the building had new ownership. The increases were legal. If he didn't like it, he could move. Daniel hung up, slammed his fist on the table. That night, he knocked on my door. Renzo, did you see this? He shoved the notice in my face. I looked at it, pretended to be surprised. 3,200? That's crazy. He nodded frantically. Right? We can't afford that. I don't know what we're going to do. I paused, let the silence build. Then I said, maybe you should find your own place. You're a grown man. You had your own apartment. You can get another one. His face went pale. He realized. Not everything, but enough. Wait, you didn't, he stammered. I smiled. Didn't what, Daniel? He backed away, shook his head. You're insane. I stood up, stepped closer. No, I'm your landlord, and rent is due on the 1st, but I wasn't done yet. Daniel tried to fight it. He called lawyers, threatened to sue. But Tavian had made sure everything was legal. The lease agreements were solid. The rent increase was within city limits. There was nothing he could do. Maria came to me a week later, alone. She sat on my bed. Her face was hushed from crying. Dad, I'm so sorry. Her voice cracked. I didn't look at her. Sorry for what? I asked. She sobbed. For not standing up for you. For letting him treat you like that. I was scared. I didn't want to lose him. I finally looked at her. My daughter. My little girl. She looked so small, so broken. Part of me wanted to forgive her immediately. Hold her. Tell her it was okay, but another part of me was still angry, still hurt. You chose him, I said quietly. You stood there and let him kick me out. Your own father. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. I know I was wrong. I see that now. I sighed. What do you want from me, Maria? She looked up. I want you to lower the rent. Please, we can't afford it. We'll have to move. And with the baby, I felt a twist in my gut. My grandson, innocent in all this, I thought about it for a long time. Finally, I said, I'll lower the rent, back to $1,800, but only for you, not for him. She blinked, confused. What do you mean? I explained. I'll lower it if you leave Daniel. File for divorce. Take my grandson and start over. Her face went white. Dad, I can't. I interrupted. Yes, you can. He doesn't respect you. He'll do this again, control you, manipulate you. I'm giving you a way out. She shook her head, stood up. I love him. I nodded slowly. Then you'll pay $3,200. She left my room crying. I felt like a monster, but I also felt something else. Power, control. For the first time in months, I wasn't the victim. Daniel tried a different approach. He showed up at my businesses, talked to my employees, tried to make me look bad. He told people I was petty, vindictive. Some believed him, most didn't. Tavian called me laughing. Your son-in-law is making a fool of himself. I didn't find it funny. I found it pathetic. 2 months passed. They couldn't pay the rent. Daniel's job didn't pay enough. Maria had stopped working to care for the baby. They were drowning. I watched from my room, detached, cold. Then Daniel did something I didn't expect. He came to me, knelt down, actually knelt. Renzo, please. I'm begging you, lower the rent. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I disrespected you. I see that now. Tears in his eyes, voice shaking. I looked at him. This man who called me family, who kicked me out, who made my daughter choose. I felt nothing. Get up, I said. He stood, hopeful. I'll lower the rent, I continued. His face lit up. But you're moving out of that apartment. I'm renting it to someone else. You can have a smaller unit. 1 bedroom, $1,200 a month. His hope died. 1 bedroom? We have a baby. I shrugged. Then you'll make it work, or you can leave. Stared at me, hatred in his eyes, but also defeat. He took the deal, and that's when I realized this story wasn't about them anymore. They moved into the smaller unit. Daniel became a shell of himself, quiet, submissive. He paid rent on time every month, avoided eye contact. Maria stopped talking to me altogether. She'd walk past me in the hallway like I was a stranger. It hurt, but I'd accepted it. My grandson was 1 year old now. I barely saw him. Sometimes I'd hear him crying through the walls. I'd stand outside their door, hand raised, ready to knock, but I never did. Tavian noticed I was different, quieter. You won, Renzo. Why do you look so miserable? I didn't answer, because the truth was I wasn't sure I'd won anything. Then one day, I got a letter, handwritten, slipped under my door. I recognized Maria's handwriting. I opened it slowly. My hands shook. Dad, I'm leaving Daniel. You were right. He's gotten worse since we moved. He blames me for everything. He says I ruined his life by bringing you into ours, but you didn't ruin anything. He did. I'm filing for divorce. I'm taking Leo, and I'm asking if maybe we could move back into the bigger apartment. Just me and Leo. I'll pay whatever rent you think is fair. I don't expect forgiveness, but I need help. Please. I read it 3 times, sat down, closed my eyes. All the anger I'd been holding on to started to crack. I thought about revenge, about justice, about power. And I realized something. Revenge didn't heal me, it just made me emptier. I walked to their door, knocked. Maria answered. Her eyes were puffy, tired. She looked scared. I hugged her. She broke down, sobbed into my shoulder. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry. I held her tight. I know, baby, I know. I lowered her rent, gave her the bigger apartment back, $1,200 a month, same as the small one. She moved in with Leo the next week. Daniel left. I didn't ask where he went. I didn't care. Maria and I started having Sunday dinners again. Just us and Leo. She'd cook. I'd hold my grandson. We didn't talk about Daniel. We didn't talk about the past. We just existed together. One night as I was leaving her apartment, she stopped me. Dad? I turned. Thank you for not giving up on me. I smiled. You're my daughter. I could never give up on you. Betrayal broke me. But it also taught me something. Power without love is just cruelty. And revenge without forgiveness is just poison. I got my justice, I got my control back. But what I really wanted was my family. And now, slowly, I was getting that too. The building still stands, I still own it. Daniel's gone, Maria's healing, my grandson is 2 now, he calls me Papa, and every time he smiles, I remember why I fought so hard. If you've ever trusted someone who hurt you, I hope this story reminds you of something. You're stronger than you think, you can rebuild. You can take back control, but don't lose yourself in the process. Don't become the thing that hurt you. Revenge felt good for a while, but forgiveness felt better. Not because Daniel deserved it, but because I did. If this story hit you, leave a comment. Tell me what you would have done. And if you want to hear more real stories like this, subscribe. Stay with me, because life is messy. People are complicated, but there's always a way forward, always.